Alright, so the deck I'm going to show you guys today is my Avacyn Angel of Hope deck. It is still it's not really at its early stages, but it's at its earlier stages where there's definitely plenty room for improvement. But yeah, so now I'll show you my mono white. So this one is Avacyn Angel of Hope. Most of you know what this is and are probably thinking I'm disgusting right now because of it. Some of the gross themes that could have it in, such as land destruction. Has a little of that in here, but not so much. The theme of the deck is have some good angels, and they, of course, would get indestructible with Avacyn, but I also have a lot of auras that give my commander protection from stuff. So it would be indestructible and can't be targeted by things and stuff like that. So yeah, that's overall the theme. There's a little more, but you'll probably see it soon. I have Command Beacon in a couple decks. Silver Paladin, I like that in here because, for those of you who don't know, it has Soul Bond, so I get to pair it with something that's unpaired, and it gives it bleh, and the thing it's paired with have double strike, and I put a couple things that would give my commander double strike because that alone will be 16 commander, which is nice. Um, I can't even pronounce this. Of Heliod, it lets me put 1/1 white soldier tokens on the battlefield equal to my devotion to white. This is one of those cards that I feel is a lot more useful than it seems because you basically get to have a lot. Sorry for the lighting. I know it's weird. Um, you get to have a lot of tokens and stuff. Like I just like it in mono white decks. Siren Titan's one of those annoying land destruction. Draineth Magistrate, great card for commander because it says it's only 2 mana. It says your opponent can't cast spells from anywhere other than their hands, so that includes the command zone, which is pretty nice. Um, Most of you probably already know this card. It's really good. This is one of the cards I put in there just to fill in the gap because it gives other creatures I have flying +0/+1, and that's always nice to have. So I just put that in. Foil Heliod's Intervention. That's a great commander card in my opinion. I'm sure most of you would agree. It's a 2 white and X, destroy X artifacts or enchantments, or target player gains twice X life. Obviously, I put it in for the first one. Um, Heraldic Banner, I love it in mono decks and token decks because it's like you choose a color and creatures with the chosen color get +1/+0, and you can tap it for 1 mana. I like it in mono decks because it's like you got something to make that color, and all your creatures basically get bigger. Austere Command, classic commander card. This I like the monuments in my mono color decks because, like this one says, white creatures I control cost 1 less to cast, and whenever I cast a creature's spell of the white, whenever I cast a creature spell, period, I create a 1/1 white warrior creature token with vigilance. That's always nice. Fall of the Thram, that's land destruction. Um, can't Radiant. Let's see here. Archangel. I could tap another creature I control with flying, and this gains protection from the color of my choice to land turn, and that goes with the part of the theme where it's like give stuff protection. Keeper of the Accord. It's the card from the Commander Legends set. I like it, so I decided to throw it in there. Ugh. Actually, the Abordant, I like this card in this deck because it's good graveyard hate and it gains me life because it says players can't cast spells from graveyards or activate abilities of cards in graveyards, and whenever a creature dies, I gain a life. Pariah, I think, is great in this deck. So it says enchant creature, all damage that would be dealt to you is dealt to the enchanted creature instead. So the idea of it is to, of course, put it on my commander or something else with indestructible, so that way I basically all damage dealt to me would be dealt to it, and it's indestructible, so it doesn't matter. So that's kind of fun. Um, Mangara, the Diplomat, all my buddies are using it right now. It's a great commander card, and I have a couple copies because I was lucky enough to pull a couple. 4 drop, 2/4 legendary creature lifelink. Whenever an opponent attacks you with 2 or more creatures, if they're attacking you or one of your planeswalkers, draw a card. And whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, draw a card, which is pretty cool. Hour of Revelation, it's such a good commander card in my opinion because it's like, especially Like 3 white, and some would say that's a little iffy, but in this mono white deck, I think it's perfect because one, funny story about this card. So my buddies were playing a ton of ramp, and so they were like, because it says this costs 3 less if there are 10 or more non-land permanents on the battlefield. And my buddies were just putting up so much ramp, so I was able to just be like, okay, 3 white mana, destroy all non-land permanents, and they lost their mana, so the game kept even. And also, some of my buddies snuck in a couple big creatures, so it was great. That card, Evra, Ravnica at War. I like it in mono decks because it says exile all multicolored permanents. I have a couple cards like that hate on multicolor because it's like mono versus non-mono, and I thought that would be good. Leave no trace, destroy target enchantment and each other enchantment that shares a color with it. Thought that was good. Myriad Landscapes, classic. Silence, that's always a good card in case you're playing an opponent with tricky stuff. Yeah, this is one of the auras I was talking about. So Spirit Mantle, it says enchanted creature. It says enchanted creature get +1/+1 and has protection from creatures. And that again, that's part of the theme to like make my commander protection, make it harder to kill, and then yeah. Let's see, what other big cards? Like some of these you might be able to tell just by looking. If not, my bad. Lavinia, Keeper of Silence. Activated abilities of creatures your opponent's control can't be activated. That's always a fun one. I mainly put it in there because it's an angel, but it's just good in anything, really, in my opinion. What else we got? I put in this blade. I'm debating about taking it out soon, but the reason why... I don't think I have anything I want to put in here right now, do I? I basically put it in there mainly because it just makes my commander bigger, so it could hit for commander damage. Story of the Consoles, I like that one. Sun's Avatar. I have a couple board sweeps in here, mainly because with my commander, all my stuff would be indestructible. You've seen most of these, I'm sure, if you're commander players. They're just different mana ramps. The disc, it's one of those gross combos with this because, for those you don't know, it's a 4-drop that you play it and enters battlefield tapped. You pay 1, tap it, and destroy all artifacts, creatures, and enchantments. So because it says, most of you already know this, but like since it says destroy all artifacts, that would include the disc itself, right? But with my commander and everything indestructible, it's basically like, forget you guys. I'm destroying all your stuff. My stuff is okay. And I could do it again because it won't die if my commander's out. And it's just really mean but fun. 100-handed one, I can see why it's not that valuable, but it's one that I just enjoy. It's a 3/5 Vigilance with Monstrosity 3. And for those you don't know, the way Monstrosity works is if it's not Monstrosity already, you pay the Monstrosity cost, and it gets 1/1 counters equal to whatever the Monstrosity is, so in this case 3. And then it gains an ability that it only has when it's monstrous. In this case, it says it would gain reach and could block an additional 99 creatures. So I put in a couple cards like that because, again, like it's good alone, but with the commander is nice. Feldar Sovereign, it's one of those cards that when you first start commander, everyone's like, oh my god, that's broken. And for those of you who don't know, it's a 4/6 with Vigilance and Lifelink, and says at the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 40 more life, you win the game, which when I first started, it actually did win me a couple games, and it was really nice. But I could now see why it's not worth super much, but it's still like, what's the word? It's still decent. And again, it's one of those cards, because the theme of this deck is not only some of the stuff I have, but some of the cards I put in there. The whole purpose of it is it's indestructible now. So like, even though that card itself could be the target and or me, it's like, we'll have to work harder. Spectral Ward, I like that. Emra Shepherd, it's definitely a bulk rare that definitely can go in a lot of commander decks. It's just nice. The Oracle, it's always good to have removal. Angel Feather, I like that. Even Mind Sensor, really good. It stops your opponent from searching. Not like stops them, but pretty good. Path to Exile. I put this one in because it says each player sacrifices a multicolor permanent, and haha, I don't have those. And this definitely has some multicolor hate to it. Um, Gift of Estates, if you guys don't know, it's a 2-drop sorcery that says if an opponent controls more lands than you, search your library for 3 planes. It says plain cards, so not basic planes. And you put them in your hand. Now, it's called Gift of Estates. And is it as good as like land tax? Obviously not, but it's one of those cards that like if you want to start a deck, I'd say this one is one to consider. Crush a Contraband, it's another unbanned card. It lets you choose one or both, which is exile an artifact or exile an enchantment, and it's an instant, which is nice. There's one card that you all probably know from Thornbell Drain called True Love's Kiss. It's not as good. It's like a 4-drop instant, 2 white and 2 exile target artifact or enchantment and draw a card. You should have seen my friend's reaction when I first played it against them. They were like, True Love's Kiss? What is that? That sounds so... And then they realized that it was actually pretty decent. Boom Pile, same kind of thing. It says flip a coin. If you win the flip, then destroy all non-land permanents. But again, with my commander, because again, it's one of those cards that includes itself because it is a non-land permanent. But if I have Avacyn out, it won't be destroyed. So that's kind of what it's going for. This card is actually another one that most people, and again, I'm kind of looking at the card more than the camera, so like my lighting might be weird, sorry. It's called the Quarry Colossus. It's an uncommon. It costs 7, and it says when it enters the battlefield, put target creature into its owner's library just beneath the top X cards, where X is the number of planes you control. And of course, I have a lot of planes because it's a mono white deck, but you see, the reason why I like cards like that, the ones that put cards back in the library instead of graveyard, is it's like, for all you know, you're playing a player who loves the graveyard, and there's a lot of commander staples that might benefit off of being in the graveyard as well, or things being in the graveyard, so it's always nice to instead say, ha, like, it's in your deck. That's the guy. That's the guy. Swallow the Whole, I think, is another decent card that's not expensive. It's a 1-mana sorcery that you tap a creature that's untapped that you control, and then you exile target tap creature. So it's like you're tapping one of your own to exile a creature that is already tapped. And the creature you tap to pay the additional cost, we get a 1/1 counter. It's just one of those cards that are definitely looked the other way in some cases because of cards that are better than it, but it's like it's cheap, so it's pretty decent. Like if you want to start a deck, disenchant. In this guy, 3 white mana, other creatures get +1/+1. So that's overall what the deck is. So if you guys have any opinions, let me know. And yeah.